Meet Marcus. He earns $75,000 a year, holds a 4-year college degree, and maintains a respectable mid-level position. By the metrics of the last half-century, he is the model of professional success. But his financial priorities tell a different story. Marcus contributes zero to his 401k, choosing instead to spend $1,200 on a spontaneous trip to Portugal. A traditional financial advisor sees this as a critical error. Neglecting retirement contributions during your highest earning years creates a massive gap that compound interest will struggle to bridge later in life. Marcus isn't mathematically illiterate. He represents an entire demographic of high-earning professionals who are making a conscious decision to stop investing in a future they no longer believe they can afford. For decades, the path to the middle class was a predictable formula. You traded years of study for academic credentials, then traded those credentials for a stable, salaried career. That career path historically guaranteed the milestones of adulthood: a home, a family, and a predictable retirement. In today's economy, the cost of those milestones has detached from local wages. Applying the old formula now yields a deficit rather than a deed to a house. Marcus has reached the conclusion that the middle-class game is structurally broken. He is opting out of a race where the finish line keeps moving. This chart shows the gap between current earnings and the cost of entry for the housing market. On the left is Marcus's $75,000 salary. On the right is the $83,000 required for a standard down payment on a median-priced home. Even if Marcus saves 10% of his gross income, a discipline many find difficult, he only sets aside $7,500 a year. Meanwhile, rising property values and inflation push that $83,000 target further away every month. The markers of adulthood are moving targets that outpace the growth of a standard paycheck. When you work 40 hours a week and see zero tangible progress toward a permanent home, the result is deep psychological exhaustion. For many earners, the traditional path to stability has become a mathematical dead end. This mathematical reality produces a specific behavioral response: calculated nihilism. This generation has watched systemic stability dissolve through multiple global economic shocks. They have seen stagnant wages collide with a housing market that no longer responds to a college degree. When long-term assets are unreachable, people pivot to compensatory consumption. They spend their money on immediate, high-quality experiences. Buying a flight to Portugal provides Marcus with a temporary sense of agency. It is a way to find a small amount of control in an economy that feels entirely indifferent to his efforts. These spending habits are not a sign of financial illiteracy, but a rational psychological adaptation to an environment where the old rules no longer apply. Calculated nihilism offers immediate relief. Trading a hypothetical retirement for a real experience in Lisbon provides a tangible return on a paycheck. But there is a flaw in this logic. Recognizing that the system is rigged doesn't protect you from the consequences of being broke in 30 years. Prioritizing immediate experiences over any form of capital ensures permanent financial instability. As this generation ages, the lack of assets will become a crisis that travel photos cannot solve. Survival requires a new framework, one that acknowledges the broken housing market without surrendering to total consumption. The alternative to both the old playbook and modern nihilism is a shift toward aggressive, automated simplicity. This line represents a completely boring, automated index fund. This strategy works because it reclaims the power of compound interest without requiring a 6-figure down payment. It allows you to build wealth independently of the housing market. It lacks the immediate excitement of a vacation. It is slow, repetitive, and entirely unglamorous. However, prioritizing the accumulation of capital over short-term experience creates a private exit from a rigged system. It is the only way to build the wealth the current economy makes so difficult to reach.